best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Hello, lovelies. It is a beautiful day in our neighborhood. You can see right behind me. Actually, it's kind of gray. We've had a little bit of rain, but you know what? I'm here to embrace it all. How are you? How is everybody doing? And where is that chat? There it is. Is it going to show up? Yes, it's there. So if you're here, just come say hello. I'd love to talk and chit chat. That's what we do. This Thursday, of course, is Thanksgiving. If you haven't gotten your Thanksgiving menu, what are you waiting for? Go to savingdinner.com. And right when you get there, you will see our little Thanksgiving banner. You can find it at savingdinner.com/Thanksgiving, but it's also on the front page. All you have to do is click on it and you'll get that free Thanksgiving menu. This is what was the inspiration for the book, Saving Dinner for the Holidays. And it's menus, recipes, shopping lists, timelines, and how to get everything on the table at the same time, which is a feat. Believe me, it is a feat. But nonetheless, it needs to be discussed, does it not? Anyway, so I don't know why, but I keep getting this message from Facebook saying, hello, we've been having tech issues today. You tell me. I don't think so. Not today, anyway. So this Thursday is Thanksgiving, and we celebrated our Thanksgiving. Our family celebrated our Thanksgiving this past Thursday. And all I'm going to say is that it was an absolute disaster. Not the food, but we had there was some fuss going on within the family. Very unusual for this family. We are usually get along so great and everything is wonderful. And it was just so funny how this hit me, how these expectations that we hold are so important to us. We talked about that last Tuesday, expectations versus anticipation. Well, I'm going to tell you what, I was filled with expectations. And when it did not happen the way that I had dreamt it would happen, it was pretty soul crushing. Anyway, but I looked at it and I thought, what is it that I missed? What is it that I can go back and do better? Where is the repair of the breach that needs to be made? And that's kind of in the house, if you will, that I'm dwelling in, because, I was very much part of the problem. Don't you hate that? Our lives are so funny because we are so complex and we are always filled with dreams, anticipation, expectations, all kinds of stuff. It gets very complex and nobody's immune. And I don't care what age you are, and I don't care where you are in your life. You're going to be feeling it too. We just do. So today, when I was contemplating today's show, one of the things I love so much, our quote of the week is, I dwell in possibility. And I love that because dwelling in possibility means that anything is possible, that you're not looking for the wrong, you're actually seeking the right. And you're seeking the good stuff. You're seeking what could possibly happen. So for me, this quote just hit absolutely when I needed it, because I'm rescuing my emotions from last week. I'm rescuing, hey there, Maureen. Hello, Jane. Good to see you. I'm rescuing kind of some hurt from last week. We had all the kids here. We finally got to meet my son's girlfriend, and it was just, everything. There was just, I felt like we were always behind on getting something done. We were like that the whole week. both Mark and I, and Caroline included. And oh, it was just something. And then when, you know, when our Thanksgiving was supposed to happen and it just became very disrupted and what have you, um, it just broke my heart. It still has. So, but the thing is, it's not the holiday, it's the family. It's not the, and it's even not all the food and everything else. It is, how do you come together and solve the problem of feeding this family and also doing it in a way, of course, we want to do it beautifully, but we also want to do it in a way that not only puts food on their plate, but it also feeds their soul, right? So I think that's where we kind of missed it. And here we are, the dinner diva confessing all of her sins. Don't you love it? Anyway, I'm just telling you. So today I'm kind of, I wanted to talk about worrying, because I am the queen of worrying. And I read a quote that I thought was, one of the best quotes I've ever read, that worrying is worshiping the problem. Which, if you think about it, that's truly what it is. It's spending time and energy and focus on something that we almost idolize, because that problem has now become the sole place of our attention, right? We're going to talk about that. It's important. But meanwhile, anything digital on our site right now is 50% off. Oh, did you know that? It's Black Friday. You can take advantage of those sales. Black Friday, my friends. Black Friday, 50% off. That's pretty decent. Plus, you automatically get your download as soon as you purchase it. Boom, we send you an email link, and there it is. I especially like it for taking back the holidays, because, in my opinion, the printed book is great, but you can also do it week by week. Just print out that week and put it into your journal or whatever, and just make it really easier, much easier on yourself. That's how I look at it. So take back your holidays. If you want that, you can go get it for half off. It's a great deal. That's if you go to savingdinner.com, you'll see it. Everything on that page. Just click. If it's digital, it's yours. Half off. Also, 50 again. If I were 50 again, this is exactly what I would do differently. That's at savingdinner.com/50 again. Now, if you have purchased this book, you will get the next chapter. That's chapter 2 this Friday. It will come in your email in a little PDF. That doesn't mean you're not getting the full book. You will get the full book when the full book comes out in print, which is probably going to be January now. I'm probably going to put it together. I've got some stuff coming, some extra bonuses coming for the extra weight. Okay. That's how I roll, girls. That's what I'm doing. And anyway, you'll be able to see all of that. But if you have not seen the book yet, it's at savingdinner.com/50 again. Okay. That's how you find it. All right. So let's talk about worrying, because anybody here worry? Do you have pinkies up for that one? I know my girls. I know you worry. We all do. We're mothers. We're women, and we care. That is the hallmark of women. We care, and that caring oftentimes shows up in wringing our hands over the people we love and the problems that we have, and wanting to solve them with everything in our being. That's a lot of times what worrying looks like. So I think of myself as a non-worrier. I was, the child of a hand wringer. That was my mother. However, my worrying shows up in weird ways. I'll have strange dreams. I will end up with a cold sore. But worrying depletes, by the way, your vitamin B levels. And that's why you end up, getting cold sores and what have you. And your nervous system just doesn't like it. Do some L-glycine, by the way, if you have that. I take, not glycine. Oh boy, I can't remember what it is. It's sitting in my cabinet. Lysine, I'm sorry. It's lysine, and you want 1,000 milligrams of that every morning. It's a preventative, works on an empty stomach. Jane said she's excited, and the quote about worrying is getting written down over here. Jane, I know. It's a powerful one, isn't it? it's a powerful one because we have a tendency to do this. Um, I think that this encapsulates the essence of how worry can dominate our lives. It really can. And sometimes in a way that we are not even aware of. Like I said, for me, worrying is under the radar. I don't know that I'm um, overtly worrying as much as I know that I'm worrying because of those weird dreams and a cold sore. It's very, very simple. What worrying does too is it overshadows our ability to focus on solutions and constructive actions that we can take because worrying takes an incredible amount of energy. I always think of my energy as being a certain amount. Like I'll use a bread basket as an analogy or something. You can only put so much in it. And once that starts to flow out, you're lost. And if all of my energy is going toward that, how much energy is going toward constructing the life of my dreams? How much energy is going toward the things that I really do want? And if you think about it, how much energy could I be saving if I simply surrendered to the fact that worrying is not going to fix it? Because it never does. It absolutely never does. And I want to talk about how we break, and I'm going to break it down to how worry, what really worry truly is, and the impact it has on our psyche and our health. Because we need to break free from the grip it has so that we can transform this, unconstructive energy into something that is constructive and productive, giving us back that energy and bringing us back to life because it sucks us dry. Amen. I don't know about you, but it does. Um, we all know what worry is. It's a mental, repetitive habit. It is a habit, by the way. It's habitual for a lot of people that they just worry incessantly. They look for things to worry about or things that aren't even true but might happen, and that could be the subject of worry. Um, a lot of times it's about future events that haven't happened, might not happen, but in their mind, in their imagination, they're saying, well, what if, the Henny Penny syndrome of the sky is falling. And when we do this, there's it's so interesting to me because it is such a negative, um, creative use of our energy. When in fact, if you did a 180 on it and made it positive, creative use of energy, solutions happen out of that. And new ideas pop up out of that. And you're free from the construct of this worry trap because it is a trap. Our brain is responsible for this. Surprise. Our brain has an innate desire to predict and control outcomes so that it can avoid danger and ensure safety. That's your amygdala. And it's on overdrive, girlfriend, when you are in the worry zone. And believe it or not, your amygdala kind of likes that. It's kind of fun for your amygdala. It's a feeding frenzy for your amygdala because it goes around and around. And that's what your amygdala does. It spins for you. It spins and spins and spins. And it goes back to that same cycle over and over again. And that's that negative loop that we've talked about so many times. So, this is a protective mechanism if you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. But if not, it is going to backfire and cause more harm than it is good because it doesn't do one bit of good for you. It doesn't help to solve the problem. And it takes significant toll on both our health, physically, mentally, and our psyche as well. I mean, it just puts a big ding into the whole thing. It manifests itself sometimes in just stress, anxiety, and a constant state of unease. Nobody wants to be in that. You feel almost like you don't belong in your own skin and you're ready to jump out of your own skin. And that leads to a vicious cycle of then going back into that negative thinking loop. And what does that do? Except paralyzes and hinders our ability to think clearly and to make rational decisions. And that's what we need to be about. That's how we get out of that loop, but this is what keeps us into it. And physiologically, the worry triggers our body's stress response. Hello, cortisol and adrenaline. Those two things go together. And you know what that does if you're in bed? It makes it so you are not sleeping. You are thinking and thinking and thinking, also known as worrying, worrying, and worrying. And so we need our cortisol. When we wake up in the morning, we want our cortisol to rise. We want our adrenaline to rise because that helps us to rise and get out of bed. Hi, Linda. But prolonged exposure like that, that's inflammatory, and it's going to lead to a bunch of different health issues like increased heart disease, because chronic stress and anxiety can raise your blood pressure and increase the risk of cardiovascular problems. Thank you very much. Weakened immune system. What do you think constant worry does? It weakens your immune system because it's using up all of your resources. It burns through all of your vitamin B, and that is a big protective part of your immune system and your nervous system. It makes your body more susceptible to infections. It goes through the vitamin C. It's burning through all of those nutrients that you've so carefully given yourself. But you're way using more of those resources than you need to be. Also, digestive issues. You ever heard of irritable bowel syndrome? Well, a lot of people have it because of stress, not only to their digestive system, but stress to their bodies and to their psyches and to everything else. I had a girlfriend whose daughter in college got really bad IBS. She spent her her first couple of years in just absolute distress over how hard college was, because it is. And she was in and out of hospitals, all kinds of stuff and all kinds of treatments. It was IBS. You can also get ulcers. You can also get acid reflux and sleep disturbances too. Don't forget about that, because you're up all night trying to think this thing through, looking for that solution. Are you? Is worrying really looking for a solution? Or is it just sort of like being a cow and chewing on cud, chewing it, swallowing it, and throwing it back up into your mouth and chewing it again? That's a visual for you. But that really is what worry is. It never really gets digested. It never really gets thoroughly digested and ending up, in the field somewhere. Poor quality sleep and insomnia and what have you turns into stress and anxiety and turns into just a rat's nest of a mess. This is what worry does. Jane says, one of my daily affirmations is, I am using my mind to creatively solve problems. That is so good, Jane. That's brilliant. Because if you're using your mind that way to creatively solve problems, that means that you have backed away from the worry, because the worry is not going to creatively solve a problem. It can't. All worry does is cycles through and does the same thing over and over again. The cow with the cud. Okay. That's what worry is. We have to break that cycle. We have to have constructive alternatives to worry, and we can have those. So what do we want to do? One is we want to practice mindfulness. Easier said than done. But part of a mindfulness practice is a daily affirmation, like, I am using my mind to creatively solve problems. That's brilliant. Of course you are, Jane, is what I would say to you about that. Of course you are doing this. And I think of Leanne saying everything is figure outable, because everything is. Everything is. It just works that way. When we are in this place of mindfulness, we are in a place where we are basically setting the table for construction. We are saying that we are going to calm our minds. We could use meditation also as a tool, a wonderful thing to do, because it works on regulating your nervous system. We can also bring down the temperature of everything with meditation and mindfulness. Those two things together, they're just inseparable. And that's why I love to journal too, because we can, in writing, write out mindfulness stuff that is impactful to us. And as we write it out, it's even more impactful, because it's basically telling our brains, this is what I want. This is the imprint that I want to put on my brain instead of all the other stuff. Our neural pathways can be rewired, but they need to be rewired with the right information. And we can override these old programs of worry. It takes a minute and it takes a lot. Sometimes it just takes a lot of repetition over and over and over again. But if we focus on the present moment and observe what it is, what we're thinking, and do it without judgment, by the way, what are we thinking? Well, that's when you say, oh my gosh, that's just this big worry wart stuff. Well, fine. You can break free from it because you put something else out there, right? If you say, I am using my mind to think about all of my problems over and over and over again, you've just defined what worrying is. But when you disconnect from that worry and say, I am using my mind to creatively solve my problems, your brain sees that there is a door open at last. And now your reticular activating system is going to start looking for solutions to creatively solve these problems because you've told your brain that's who you are. You've identified with that and not all the worry wart stuff. You see what I'm getting at with all of this? It's so powerful. The other thing that we can do is change our body's chemistry by engaging in physical activity. Do you know, they did a study, I think it was in England, but don't quote me. And they found that people who were depressed and even chronically depressed, who engaged in regular physical activity, like something that's going to anything, I mean, like weightlifting, something that's going to throw some endorphins their way, fast walking, running, jogging, getting on the elliptical, taking a bar class, doing something other than sitting their butts down on the couch all day. These are the people who found themselves with a whole different elevated mindset. They started thinking differently about stuff. They didn't necessarily need their medications anymore because their body chemistry had changed. Their body chemistry had changed because of their movement. Movement entices your body into positive ways, into positive chemical reactions. It's crazy how that does. It improves your mood. And what is an endorphin except it's the feel good stuff? I will tell you, there has been so many times where I've gotten in the car and I'm all dressed and ready. And believe me, I'm doing that right after this. I do not want to do it. It's raining outside. It's cold. I don't want to go. But I know that when I get in my car and I'm on my way back, I am going to be heartily congratulating myself and I'm going to feel completely different. I know that. The hump is getting those keys, going out into the car and just say, I'm going to do it anyway. That's how it is for anything, but it's also how it is how you conquer not just conquer your goals, but also your worry, because it's the same idea. I will also say that if you haven't yet cultivated a gratitude practice, I invite you to think about that, especially with Thanksgiving coming up, right? Giving thanks for what it is that we have, not what it is that we don't have. Giving thanks for the stuff that's in our lives, keeping that in our journal, doing a gratitude walk, whatever it is, but having that focus be on the gratitude for all the things that are within our realm. Everyone has something to be grateful for. But the research has shown that gratitude can enhance your mental well-being, improve your sleep, and even boost immunity. And what do you think that's all going to do for worry? It's going to make worry shrink down. It's going to make worry less and less. And if you don't have a community, that's the other thing. You need to seek social support. Everybody needs a community, especially if you are a woman of a certain age. If you're a woman alone, if you're a woman who's with a spouse, or whatever it is, we need our girlfriends. Ladies, we need our girlfriends. The studies have shown over and over and over again that that sense of belonging, that sense of friendship, that connection that we have with people who see us and love us, warts and all, is important. It elevates us from just being a fixture. It elevates us from just being, a part of the wallpaper. You know, we are not here to struggle alone. We are not here to just keep it all locked up inside. We are here to lean on one another. And it's no accident that you have people in your life. And I would just challenge you, invite them out for a coffee or bring them over to your house or something. But start to think in terms of, this is what friendship is, and this is what it means to me, and this is what it could mean to her. And do that. Because when we lean on one another especially with our struggles and all the things that are going on, what do you think that does to our worry? Again, it shrinks it down and brings it down. We also need to set realistic goals and take some action, because worry oftentimes stems from being overwhelmed by uncertainty and a lack of control. And you know what that feels like? That just feels like everything is unraveling. It feels like you just want to put your arms in and just grab it and bring it all in. But goals will help you get proactive steps toward getting it done. Oftentimes, I mean, when my daughter was younger, we used to sit with our yellow pads, and have a pro-con list about, a problem, what was going on. Here are the pros if we do this, and here are the cons if we do that. And out of that list would be a list of things to do once we had talked it out. And out of that to-do list, obviously, emerged a goal. How do I conquer this? What's manageable? How do I celebrate getting out of this and getting into the next thing? Not only is that going to reduce the worry, but it builds confidence in you. It builds resilience in you as well. And especially if you have community, you can do that for one another. So there's science behind all of this, believe it or not, which I love. They have here's one that I found particularly interesting. The Journal of Clinical Psychology found that mindfulness-based stress reduction programs significantly reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. And anxiety and depression are part of the worry complex, aren't they? Also, another study in the American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine highlighted the positive impact of physical activity on mental health, showing reductions of anxiety and depressive symptoms. Ta-da, I told you. Yeah, move it or lose it. This is why it's so important to do that. So when we understand the detrimental effects of worrying and adopt instead more constructive habits, we can reclaim our peace of mind and live a more vibrant and purposeful life. And what's so bad about that? But you have to shift your focus first to do that. You have to say, I'm here, but I want to go over here. And you need to physically move your needle to over here and just open the door. You have to start saying, I am using my mind to creatively solve my problems every day, because that is the door opening that you need. And you are the one who has the power to do that. It's easy to fall back into the old habitual patterns that have given you nothing in return. It's harder to do this. However, it's simple to do this. You make up your mind, you make a decision, and you shift it. And as you do this, and you do it on the regular, you'll start to see consistent results from consistent doing. That's how it works. So you can transform your worry into a positive change and live a fully bloomed life. I know this for a fact. I do it. You can do it. Let's do it together. That's all I have for you today. Thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate you so much. And happy Thanksgiving to you. If you are ready for some digital fun, in other words, you want half off all of our digital products, just go to savingdinner.com. You'll see them. And Jeanette said she's going to listen to the replay, and she ordered our book. Good. Looking forward to reading. I'm so glad. Jeanette, you'll get a chapter this Friday. So yay. That's how it all works. Anyway, thank you again for joining me. I appreciate you all. Happy Thanksgiving. If you need anything, you know how to get a hold of me. Peace be with you. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story.